roll their coverage toward you. So when you walk up to the line of scrimmage and you see that, what's the first thought that goes through your mind?
The first thing that goes through my mind is Pat gonna throw the ball? I mean, which I know he is, so that's just the trust that we've built over the years, and I don't know, man. I'm just blessed to be a part of this situation, to use my God-given ability.
Well, so Rex is yelling, they need to go over there and do something different defensively. Let's make you a defensive coordinator, because no one can stop Tyreek Hill, it seems. How would you do it? If you were scheming up to play against you, how would you try and cover you?
Well, you know what? I really don't know, man. I may seem to get all the credit, but it's not me in the game planning. It's Eric Bieniemy and Coach Reed. They end up doing all the game planning. To like scheme me to get open. And obviously, I got the best quarterback in the game. So just having him and Kelsey and Sammy and McCole, and just having the weapons that we got on the field, is just allowing me to get one-on-one coverage. So. Like I said, I'm just blessed to have this opportunity, I'm going to continue to work hard for this team. I'm going to continue to just go out, give my all. So, like I said, I'm thankful.
Let's talk about your quarterback. We all watch him and we all marvel at what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do in his career. How would you describe what it is like playing with him?
You know what? Sometimes it's crazy, because of like the things that he's able to do at practice, like some of the throws, like he does. So I'm like, man, like his arm talent is crazy. Like he doesn't need all of the quarterback mechanics. You could say, he can just laser the ball. So like I said, I'm just blessed to just have him. McCole, Sammy, Kelsey, like we're all just ecstatic, just to have him. He always wants to win. He always wants to get better. Always taking coaching from Coach Reed. So that's why I love the guy. A guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's at the top of his position, and still getting better. Who wouldn't want that for a quarterback? So.
Kind of scary for the rest of the league. But speaking of scary, I want to make sure you're aware of what you may have gotten yourself into without knowing it. So let's go through what happened here. A Chiefs fan posted here this thing that said the first person you followed is someone that you have to race and with football pads on. And so you tweeted at Adam Schefter. Obviously, Shefty was the first person that you followed on Twitter, and so you challenged him to a race. And Shefty responded by tweeting, "This is happening post-COVID." Now, you may not know this, but Shefty's a pretty speedy guy. I just want to show you what you've gotten yourself into here. I hope you can see this. Go ahead, guys. Let's roll a little video. Shefty ran a 4-ever in the 40-yard dash, and that's just a good look at him taking off and sprinting. So what are your thoughts on this race now, Tyreek, you against Adam Schefter?
You know what, man? I'm pretty scared. His form is already better than mine, so I have, I need to work on my form a little bit more. But yes, Shefty, man, post-COVID, we got to get it in, man, for charity or something like that. And let's just have fun with it and roll it. And guess what, Shefty? If we run 100 yards, I will give you 40 yards, fully padded me, and I will beat you, man. I'm calling you out, Shefty. I'm calling you out, man.
40? You're giving him 40? I'd like to.
I'm giving him 40 yards. Let's go.
Right. I'm representing Mr. Schefter now. We're going to need more than that. I've seen you run and I've seen him run. We're going to need more than 40 yards. Can we get it? I think if we got it to 50, we'd have a fighting chance.
Nah, I can't do 50, man. Maybe 50 on a good day if I'm feeling good.
Well, I have a feel. I'll get in touch with your people and we'll see if we can't work that out. But all kidding aside,
that
will be fun. And if you guys can get together and do that for some sort of charity, I think it would be great. Congratulations on a great week, a great game, continued success, and thank you very much for doing it. To fix it, 3-7-1 is where they sit. And so, Greg, we'll start with you. We've talked a lot this morning, for those of you just joining us, about Carson Wentz, and clearly he bears some responsibility for the problems. But, Greg, I know you think it goes a lot deeper than just that.
I think it does, Greeny. You're only as good as your supporting cast at times. And when you're a young quarterback that's maybe a little bit on thin ice with your own personal confidence, you need some guys on the perimeter, some guys that you can rely on, that when things are going bad, this is who I'm going to target. And here are the picks in the first 4 rounds since Carson Wentz was drafted. These are their weapons, all right? Jalen Reagor, by the way, was picked 1 pick before Justin Jefferson. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was picked 7 picks before DK Metcalf. Dallas Goedert is a good player. I'll give you Dallas Goedert. He's probably a top-tier, second 1A, 1B type of tight end, but that was, a few years back. And by the way, the year before that, you get a guy like George Kittle in the 5th round, so you can find good value in tight end later in the draft. They don't have the weapons. If you look at some of the decisions he's being forced to make, he's throwing it into tight coverage, and if your answer is Alshon Jeffrey and press one-on-one coverage, that's not a good answer. So they need to go and identify some legitimate playmakers, because right now they really don't have any on the perimeter at the skill spots.
Yes, if that's the answer, I would hate to hear what the question is. Meanwhile, they did something else last night, Jeff. Again, running Jalen Hurts. We've certainly seen teams that will bring a backup quarterback in to try and change up the look, but it wasn't clear that that's what they were doing with Jalen Hurts last night. Jeff Saturday, what did you think of that experiment?
Yeah, complete waste of time, Greeny. I mean, when you think about Hurts coming in for a play and throwing a pass and, bringing him right back out, it's just so sporadic. There's no plan in place for what they're going to do with Hurts. I will say, though, Greg brought up the point of playing Hurts and what that does for Carson Wentz last hour, right? He talked about how that could, it's kind of undermining him. Well, let me tell you something, man. I was an undrafted free agent. They drafted second-round picks to replace me, Bill Polian. Repeatedly. If you're not mentally tough enough to make $100 million and be worried about the guy behind you, I'm not really sure you're cut out for this gig, right? You're talking about a guy who is 23% off target, which leads the league. 8 interceptions from a clean pocket leads the league. Like, at some point, you got to play better. When you're the franchise guy, you have to get your team 2 or 3 wins. Look no further than Russell Wilson, from 2017 with no receiving core, still wins 9 games. Listen, you got to play better. That's the bottom line. Carson Wentz.
Listen, both can be right? I mean, Dan Graziano, both of them can be right in what they are saying. Carson Wentz can be struggling and not carrying the team the way a franchise quarterback does, and they can have done a poor job of putting people around him. So what is the fallout, Dan? If this doesn't get better this last month, what do you think happens in Philly?
Yeah, I think anything's on the table at this point. I mean, you're 3 years removed from Doug Peterson winning the first Super Bowl title in Eagles history, and yet I think if this doesn't get fixed and quickly, there are going to be legitimate questions about the security of his job. We heard Sal Palantonio refer to it earlier in the show. It's a real thing right now that is being talked about around Philadelphia, and if things continue to get worse, then I think the organization starts to assess things like that. Look, I mean, yes, the roster has not come together the way they wanted it to. Is that on the front office? Yes. The coaching staff is not handling the quarterback situation well, and the starting quarterback has regressed. Is that on the coaching staff? Yes. Is it on the quarterback? Yes. There is a lot of blame going around in that building right now, and quite frankly, it's just a total system failure, and if they don't get it turned around in the next 4 or 5 weeks, you do wonder if there's going to be some fallout in the form of jobs lost.